This is what I'm going to do. Aside a little bit. And well, let me introduce myself and list initially to some of the folks who might not know. My name is Michael W. Hall. I am kind of monikered as the paranormal lawyer. Hello, Doc. We've got traveling psychologists here. We've got paranormal lawyers. I've been an attorney for 30 years. I was a former Superior Court Judge Pro Tem in Thurston County. And throughout all that, I've always been interested in the paranormal and UFOs, for sure. So people always ask me, well, how did that work when you were a lawyer? And you know what? I didn't care. I was just out there, talking to people about it all the time. About a few years ago, I actually started this group called the UFO I-Team. You might have heard about that. Matter of fact, if you go on Facebook and you punch in UFO I-Team, you can follow us and actually appear with us virtually at our weekly meetings live from Denny's, where America eats. That's right, that's what we say. And when I heard that Russell Targ, Kit Green, and a couple other astrophysicists got together and talked about UFOs at Denny's, I said, wow, it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us. So the groups got started, and we've been all over the place. We've been to some amazing locations for investigations. We've been to conferences. Kevin Beagle kind of talked about one of the incidents that we had called the incident at Mount Adams, where Kevin and I and Sam actually experienced some missing time that was scientifically proved. We can show this on some of the instruments that we have, so that's kind of weird. But I'm not here to talk to any of that about today. I want to kind of get you guys up to speed on something that happened to me 2 days ago that is the biggest thing that's ever happened to my life as far as UFO disclosure goes. We've all been working hard in our own ways to try to get to the point where, wouldn't it be nice in our lifetime if we can actually say, well, somebody is going to come out and confirm the existence of these things. Like the New York Times article, right, of last December, not this December, but 2017, where the Pentagon and the Department of Defense officials were actually interviewed on the front page above the fold on the New York Times, confirming the existence of unidentified aerial phenomena. That was the beginning, as far as I could tell. I was thinking, well, thank God I lived this long so I could see that, or hear that, and talk about that now. Ever since that, we found out on the UFO I-Team, people want to talk about these things now. Our motto is tell us your story, and we don't even have to ask any longer. People are always coming up to us at conferences going, oh, I got to tell you this, what happened to me. They figure if it's in the New York Times and the mainstream media are talking about that, why not? So there is a big backlog of stories that we're starting to learn about. Okay, now put yourself in my position. One of the only paranormal lawyers around. I get a text from a client of mine. And the text says, Michael, I have a situation I need to talk with you immediately about. I am about to come out with a major UFO bomb. And I need to talk to a paranormal lawyer. Now, it doesn't have the impact that it would have to me from your perspective at this point, because you don't know who this guy is. Now, I know this guy, and I'm going, holy crap. If he thinks that this is a major UFO disclosure, and he's about ready to come out with it, I can't imagine what it is. Of course, my mind is racing. I couldn't even sleep that night. Literally. That was not last night, but the night before. So you probably will notice, if you know me, I'm a little excited right now. I don't normally, present like this off the cuff, but this is the perfect opportunity, Una and Trish, to be able to get this stuff off my chest, okay? Because you're going to be the first people to hear this. And I can't disclose my attorney-client privilege of who this is. You're going to have to take my word for it. By the way, some of the UFO I-Team members here in the audience tonight, If you have any clue from what I've told some of you beforehand who this is, please extend the attorney-client privilege to yourselves here for right now. And it's only going to be for a couple days, I believe, because there's going to be a major announcement come out. But, okay, here's the bottom line. I won't take up a whole lot of time. But this guy calls me on a secure line. By the way, here's a tip for all of you. Now, I don't know how the veracity of this, but he called me on a free downloaded app called Signal, Signal. It's a encrypted app that you can use for messaging and telephone calls. It's encrypted on your end, but if you have your friend download it, it's encrypted on both ends. So he's calling me on an encrypted phone thing, and I'm immediately freaking out about that, going, whoa. And he says, okay, here's the deal. I have been given a 15-page document that, and I'll summarize real quick, confirms with names, high-level government, military personnel, most who are still alive, by the way, and can corroborate and or deny vociferously that they're in this memo, the existence of government crash retrieval UFO programs, the existence of MJ-12 from the very beginning, 1947, the back engineering of alien aircraft, the Bob Lazar story that we've all heard about. I mean, this comes out and basically confirms not Bob Lazar himself, but the whole idea of that's what's going on, and they name locations where it's going on as well. The idea that they have extraterrestrial bodies, dead and alive, okay? That they have crashed saucers and materials that they are studying. We've known that from the TTSA program. Robert Bigelow is studying supposedly this metadata or metamaterials from this crashed saucer. So this is just another corroborative kind of deal where they've been doing this for a while. They have been frustrated for decades, the memo says, that they've not been able to get past this process of re-engineering completely. But the document also says that they have a full-fledged working craft that they fly. At least one. I mean, this is just a 115-page document of two highly placed military generals talking to one another, and one of the generals taking notes. Okay? And I won't explain who they are yet, but I have the names, the ranks, and the histories. I've vetted basically some of the main disclosure people in this thing, and they're true. They're have distinguished careers, and some of them are still alive and retired, and are going to be very upset when this thing comes out. So we are now in the process of trying to figure out the best way to get this out shotgun-wise everywhere immediately, so that it doesn't get suppressed. And I'm willing to entertain any ideas that you might have. By the way, I have, as an estate planning attorney for over 30 years, developed what I have called the Disclosure Trust, which is a whistleblower trust that anybody who has unclassified or classified, depending on when it can be unclassified, information, documents, artifacts, and those kinds of things, can fund into a separate entity, a trust. You probably know how these things kind of work, in estate planning. And the idea being is that they give direction to a successor trustee to distribute this information at a certain time. They can either do it during their lifetime, they can do it upon their death, they can do it upon their grandchildren's death, but at least it gets out. Because I don't know how many stories I've heard, you probably have as well, of these deathbed confessions that happen, and how many don't ever make the news because they don't do something to preserve this information. So anyway, I've explained that to my client, and it's very possible we could use that initially. But I tell you what, there are going to be some amazing firestorms happening out of, I don't know, the stuff that I just confirmed to you, what is in this memo. These are generic things we all know about anyway, right? So that wasn't the thing that tipped the red button for me. The thing that tipped the red button was the people who were saying this and confirming this, high-ranking military and government officials who are on the record saying this stuff, talking about government programs, black projects, government contractors who have no oversight. Awesome stuff. So,
if I may ask, what year was the memo?
I can't disclose that at this point. Thank you. It's not historical. It's not an old one. Let's put it that way. So I'm going to stop there because I just wanted to have this, somebody else other than me, have this information, and my client, of course. But if anything happens to me and another ufologist in the next couple of days, go to the newspapers, do something, okay? And I will leave clues, believe me. Thank you, Una. Thank you, Trish.
Wow, thank you so much.